practice this morning, we need some props to support us. So if you don't have yoga props or bolsters at home, grab a couple of pillows off of your couch or your bed. You can stack a couple. And then you also would be great to have a blanket or maybe even two. The more props, the better, and you'll see why once we get started. So coming onto your mat, closing the eyes. If you want to listen to that Rest and Restore playlist on Spotify that was created for this class, just under Above Yoga if you want to get that queued up. Then once you're settled and arrived, notice where the sit bones make contact with the mat. Noticing the strong foundation and base of the lower half of the body. Allowing the shoulders to fall from the ears. Just check in with the breath. So if you have one of those minds that tends to wander, especially if you're feeling like you're in a time of high anxiety or stress, sometimes those people were wired really tight, and so it's hard for us to slow down. So if this practice is mentally a struggle to take the time out to allow the muscles and the body and the brain to relax, maybe that's even more of a sign that you should try to stick with it. See how you feel at the end. Allow our nervous system to come out of this fight or flight mode so we can take a rest and digest mode. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, let it go. Two more like that. Inhale, reach. Exhale, let it go. Awesome. Last time. Inhale, reach. Exhale, side out. So we'll come into our first posture. You can move the blanket just to the side. You will need your big pillow here. We're gonna find a version of supported fish pose. So there's a couple of options. I like to have my whole spine and my neck supported. In true fish pose, we would have our neck hanging off the end of the bolster or the block and allow the throat to open. That doesn't feel good to me. So I'm gonna demonstrate it's a supported fish and that we're still opening across the chest. Take your bigger pillow, if you have a couple, stack them up and place the pillow or the bolster underneath right to the edge of your hips. And then we're just going to start to lower ourselves down. So we're finding a spot where we could be for several minutes. So most of these postures will hold for about 4 minutes. Excuse me. Allow the shoulders to round open around the pillow. So if you want a little more opening, maybe you stack another pillow right underneath the spine. So we're allowing, with very little effort, the chest to rest open. For some, it may feel good to have the legs in bound angle, soles of the feet together, knees wide. For others, it may feel better to just keep them knees pointing up or extend long. So play with the feet, see what feels good. Once you feel like you're in a comfortable space here in the upper body, allow the arms to open. I am going to set a timer for each of our poses. It's important that we stay in these poses for a good amount of time. So start to settle in. Close the eyes. Wherever you are, see if you can let go a little bit more. Allow the ground and the props to hold you up. Allow the legs and the hands to just fall where it's most comfortable, most relaxing and restorative to you. Consciously letting go of the muscles and the face and the shoulder. Letting go of any hold on the breath. Just allowing the chest to round open. Sinking in. Where can you allow yourself to become just 10% more relaxed? Just 10% more at ease. 10% more present. Only within the four corners of your mat, letting everything else go. Notice if the mind starts to wander, come back to the breath. Come back to your purpose for showing up on the mat this morning. To do something nice for yourself, to allow the body to actively rest. We spend a lot of time passively resting in the evenings, but we wonder why we can't go to sleep. And often it's because we rarely choose to actively rest during the day, to give our body and our mind a break without just going to sleep. Allowing that dial on the nervous system to turn down. Only about one more minute here. Come back to the breath. Come back to that intention to take rest and restore. If the knees are wide, slowly bring them in together. We'll all windshield wiper the knees just gently side to side, start to bring some movement back in. And slowly, gradually falling over to one side, just as a transition to push yourself back up to seated. So sometimes it feels nice in these postures that if we start by opening, then we find the next pose a little more closed in, turning inward. So we're going to move into a supported child's pose. I like the blanket here underneath the knees because we will be here for about 4 full minutes. Get my timer going. So take the knees wide on the blanket if you have it. Also, if you have a lot of space when you're in child's between your heels and your glutes, you can roll up another blanket and place it underneath the heels, or I'm sorry, on the heels. And that gives you a little bit of space to rest the booty back down. So we're gonna come into child's. Normally child's, you may be pretty close to the ground and it feels good. You probably don't hold it for 4 minutes. So I recommend that you use your pillows, blanket, whatever you can to elevate this surface. And that you start to walk down and find a place you could rest your head. So I'll tell you when we're halfway through and you can switch which side that your head is facing. So settle in, take some time to get comfortable here. Allowing the arms to be heavy, chest to rest on whatever platform you built for it. Slow the breath down. Taking slow, deep inhales and exhales. Maybe take a cleansing breath if it feels good. Notice if there's any place in the body that you're still hanging on, in the muscles, let it go. If you've been looking one way here, turn and look the other way. Just about one more minute here in your child's. Slowly starting to press yourself away from your supported child's pose. Just move your blanket or your pillow or bolster a little forward. Do a little bit of gentle movement here. So find your tabletop. And shake the hips side to side. Find a few rounds of your cat-cow. Drop the belly, lift the gaze as you inhale. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin. 2 more rounds with your breath. And then we'll come back to our mats. We're gonna use our nice big pillows to do a supported twist. So in this case, I like to take the blanket and place it between the knees. So fold it over a few times. Again, like we started the first posture, we'll bring our pillow to the base of our spine, and then we'll drop the knees to the right. So this is where I kind of like to stagger stack my knees, but still use the blanket in between them. So allow the knees to drop to the right. Bring that bolster to the right hip. And then if you can just rest all the way flat on the belly and find a twist there. And keep the head facing the same way as the knees if that's where it feels most comfortable. If you'd like a more complete twist, and it feels fine in the body, you can turn the head the opposite direction of the knees. So take a moment to get settled in. If your pillow has compressed a lot and you feel like you need a little bit more, grab another pillow. Again, we'll be here for that full 4 minutes. So find a place to settle in, hips to the right, knees to the right hip on the bolster or the pillow. Fold it down, either melt straight down or drop over so the head is facing the opposite way and you're getting a complete twist in the spine all the way up to the cervical spine. If anything is not comfortable, not sustainable for another 3 minutes, readjust. Where can you use the breath to settle the body? About halfway through here, settle back in. Just noticing how the ground and the props hold you up. Release any extra effort. If things start to come up in the mind, just allowing that to happen, but allowing that to keep moving past. So when we slow down the body in our practice, sometimes things start to try to work overdrive in the mind. So that's what we're trying to just quiet in this practice. Come back to the breath. Maybe you add a count to your inhale and your exhale. Another few rounds of breath. Slowly start to press the chest away from your pillow. Remove the blanket. We'll bring both sits bones towards the mat, and we'll take the hands a little bit back behind us and just start to windshield wiper the knees. Bring some movement into the hips. Awesome. We will do that on the other side, but first we're going to find another posture folding forward. So we're going to find staff pose, legs fully extended. Maybe you want a lot of props here depending. So if it feels like a lot to get the legs close to straight, you can put a little roll of your blanket underneath the knees. Use your pillow here, or if you feel like you have plenty of space in the legs, you can use your little blanket roll. The shorter you make it, if you make it more of a short little blanket, you can use that to rest your head. So you have to play a little bit of blanket and pillow Tetris here to see what works. So maybe the idea is that we want to lift up tall and then start to flatten the back out a little bit before we round and find some length in the back of the legs. So wherever you can find a place to rest, no matter how much you have to stack. Find a place that you can be somewhat comfortable. You need to grab another blanket to go underneath the knees. Check in with the breath. Let it go. So this is more of a yin posture where the muscles are still staying active. Check in with the breath. If you're noticing some sensation in the backs of the legs or in the upper back or neck. Take another few rounds of breath here. Slowly start to round your way up. Move some of your props out of the way. Again, take the hands back behind you, plant the soles of the feet. Maybe sway the whole body a little bit side to side. It may feel good to take a reverse table if you feel like you have that available. Fingertips towards the heels. Press the hips up. Let the head drop back. And then we'll work into our twist on the other side. So just like before, take your bolster back behind you or your pillow. Find this blanket so you can place it between the knees. So this time we're going to take the left hip to the bolster. Knees are falling to the left. So scooch that left hip up to the bolster. Knees falling to the left. And then slowly start to make your way down. Head can face same direction as the knees or opposite, your choice. And settle in. Just finding this gentle twist in the spine, allowing everything else to relax. Check in with the sensation in the body, see if you need to make any little minor adjustments. A few more rounds of breath here. Settling in. When you're ready, slowly starting to press yourself away. Bring the hands back behind, windshield wiper the knees, find some movement. So we're gonna come into a supported pigeon on each side. We're only gonna hold for about 1.5 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. So try to come over onto hands and knees. In this case, you may want your pillow prop parallel to the short end of the mat. So your choice if you want to come into your pigeon from your down dog, or if you just want to find a few circles first from tabletop. I also like the blanket here to pad the back knee. I think that feels nice. So we'll start with our right leg, shoot it back, find a little movement, and then bring the right knee towards the right wrist. Start to work your way down into a version of pigeon that feels good to you. If it feels like it's too much, just flip on the back and find that figure 4 posture on the back. Trying to level out the hips. Maybe you use one of your pillows underneath that hip that's lifted up. So in this case, the right hip, to keep it level, allow it to have a place to rest. Just about half the time here. Settle in. Make little adjustments if you need to get more into the pose, more comfortable. Slowly start to rise back up. Come back to your tabletop position. Make some nice big circles with the knee. We'll switch sides when you're ready. So take a couple of little stretches with the left side. And then when you feel ready, start to move into your version of pigeon on the left side. Try to get the hips and the shoulders nice and even and level. Check in. Just a few more moments of breath here. Slowly start to press yourself away. Come back to your tabletop. Find your circles. And then as a little quick counter pose, you won't hold it too long. Just to fold forward one more time. You want to unfold your blanket just a little bit. Make it a little bit longer. We're going to find bound angle. Soles of the feet come together. And then we're just going to use the blanket to give a little padding underneath the knees. So you can even fold the corners and lift the knees up a little more. And then reach for your pillows. Sit up nice and tall. So I have this blanket padded pretty thick underneath my knees. Inhale up tall. Exhale, round it forward. So depending on where you land, find a place you can be comfortable for a minute or two. So you may feel the muscles really try to hang on for the first few breaths, and they may settle in. Be a few more rounds of breath. Maybe you sink a little deeper. Slowly start to press yourself away. Take the hands behind and allow the feet to walk out as wide as the mat. Let the knees fall in. Switching the rotation of the hips. Maybe sway a little side to side. And then we'll set up for our Shavasana. So in restorative, sometimes I think it's nice to have a little padding underneath the knees, or if you liked the pillow or the bolster underneath the back, that's another good option. Maybe you cover up with your blanket just to feel that little layer of protection. So if we were in the studio, I'd come around and cover you up, but you'll have to either enlist a family member, friend, or cover yourself. So we'll be here for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then we will come up to close class and reset with our reading and some words. So try to settle in. Maybe you take one of those pillows underneath the head. Rest everything down. Take a couple cleansing breaths. Settle in, allowing the ground to hold you up. Give yourself this gift of active rest. Purposely carving out time to slow the body and the mind down. To rest and restore and rejuvenate for whatever the day has left in store. Take rest. Begin to deepen the breath. Making small movements with fingers and toes. And if you'd like to close your class on your back, just stay here. Stay in this rest. If you'd like to close class in a seat, you can slowly, comfortably, gradually make your way there. No rush. So wherever you decide to close out your class, settle in. Come back to the breath. Come back to this real reminder that we exist. We are valuable, we have purpose, we have worth, whether we find time for rest or to produce and work. Our value and our purpose and our worth does not change. So we'll read you just a little bit from this inviting silence, Gunilla Norris. We do not need to be experts or gurus or geniuses to remember that all of existence is precious. We do not need cathedrals to remind ourselves to experience the sacred. We need only to be deeply respectful of what is fundamentally true. And that is what we rediscover when we center ourselves in silence. Each of us can make a difference. Politicians and visionaries will not return us to the sacredness of life. That will be done by ordinary men and women who together or alone can say, remember to breathe, remember to feel, remember to care. Let us do this for our children and ourselves and our children's children. Let us practice for life's sake. Here are reminders of some essential attitudes and principles that are helpful in any meditation practice. Can we offer them up with reverence for all who honor and use silence and practice? Slowly come back to the breath. Take a few cleansing breaths together. If you're on your back or seated, reach the arms overhead. Doesn't matter. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. 2 more like that. Inhale, reach. Exhale, sigh it out. Last time, inhale, reach. Exhale, let it go. Connect the knuckles of the thumbs to the sternum, symbolizing the connection of our body to our breath. Taking a moment to remind ourselves that rest and silence are tools to make ourselves feel more well for when we do need to work and find activity. Taking a moment to remind yourself that you are enough just as you are right now. You have always been enough. You will always be enough. No change is needed. No apologies necessary. It's truly my honor to guide you through your practice. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste. Thank you, yogis. Thanks for slowing it down with me. Hope you enjoyed your rest and restore practice, and have a wonderful rest of your day and your week.